Hello everyone, this is the Spartan. Just wanted to bring you a short video statement from President Volodymyr Zalensky. He is clearly upset over the fact that yesterday, during the daytime missile strikes in Kiev, at least one of the shelters was not open and accessible to civilians, and unfortunately because of that, a couple of civilians, including a young girl, were stuck out on the street as the missiles hit and unfortunately lost their lives. So without further ado, here's President Zalensky, who's addressing that concern. Dear Ukrainians, the long and hard day is coming to an end. First of all, my condolences to the family and friends of those whose lives were taken by Russian strikes. We are doing our best to protect people. There was no such international meeting, no such international negotiations where the issue of air defense for Ukraine was not raised. But protecting people means protecting them at all levels. Shelters must be accessible. The situation like last night in Kiev, when people came to the shelter and the shelter was not open, should never happen again. It is the duty of local authorities, a very specific duty, to ensure that shelters are available and accessible around the clock. It is painful to see the negligence of this duty. You almost wonder if they got into a habit of strikes always coming at night, and so no one was ready or able or had the shelters open during the day, and the Russians caught them off guard. It is painful to see casualties, and if the duty is not fulfilled on the ground, it is the direct responsibility of law enforcement bodies to bring to justice. Today, our country, like many other countries, marks Children's Day, ironically. But even on this day, the terrorist state took the life of a Ukrainian child. But even on this day, Russia shelled our cities, from Kharkiv to Kherson to Kiev to Donbass. But we use this day to the maximum, to bring the terrorist defeat closer. And this day has become a time when we are bringing Russia's accountability of every murderer, every terrorist closer. This morning, our Ukrainian delegation was in Moldova for the summit of the European political community. This is the center of the political discussions on our continent right now. We had a very important negotiation. The President of Moldova, the President of France, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, the President of the European Commission, President of Romania, the Prime Minister of Portugal, Prime Minister of Albania, the Prime Minister of North Macedonia, the Prime Minister of Italy, the Prime Minister of Spain, the President of Switzerland, the Prime Minister of the Czech Republic, the President of Azerbaijan, the Chancellor of Germany. There was also an expanded format with representatives from the Netherlands, Denmark, Sweden, UK, Poland, and Belgium. And of course, there were meetings on the sidelines of the summit and a joint meeting of all the participants. We are preparing for new defense decisions for Ukraine, including air defense, aviation, and our advance on the ground. We are preparing real political content for the NATO summit in Vilnius. We are preparing a package of security guarantees for our country on its way to the alliance. We're doing everything to bring the EU's political decision on membership for Ukraine closer. Ukraine is constantly working on setting themselves up to gain membership of the EU and to gain membership into NATO and to have security guarantees the second the last Russian boot is off their soil. We are preparing a peace summit based on the Ukrainian peace formula, and I thank all the leaders, all the countries that support us on these points. This is not only support for Ukraine, it is support for real security for the whole of Europe. I would like to thank Mrs. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, for supporting our initiatives to protect our children, to find and return those young Ukrainians who were deported to Russia. We have to return them all. We have to do everything possible and impossible to protect all our people to the maximum extent possible from any Russian threats. I'm confident. I'm confident that this is possible. I would like to thank President Michel, President of the European Council, who held a special security session at the summit. I would also like to thank Roberta Metsola, President of the European Parliament, for the decision on ammunition for Ukraine, for supporting the allocation of an additional 500 million euros for this purpose. Thank you. Thank you to all our warriors. Thank you to everyone who trains our warriors, who helps us with weapons, who provides treatment for our heroes after their injuries. I thank all the rescuers, all our employees of the State Emergency Service and other services who are eliminating the consequences of Russian strikes. Thank you to all the volunteers who help our warriors, our people, our country. I thank everyone whom we are walking side by side towards our victory, towards our peace, and towards punishment for Russian terrorists. Glory to Ukraine. Aram Slava. And that is the end of a short, passionate, and very important speech by President Volodymyr Zalensky. Have a good night, everyone.